Welcome to We're the Harris's playoff edition. We got playoffs in college. We got playoffs in football in the NFL as well. But we got the best pros to talk to you about it. We got Chris Harris Jr., champion of Super Bowl 50, and current NFL player Shelby Harris, as well as myself, Ryan Harris. All three Harrises. Isn't that awesome? Well, boys, let's get started. We got a playoff pack. First, let's start with the NFL. Who you got winning in these 6 games?
Man, we have a crazy matchup. But honestly, I think this is going to be a defensive first wild card round. It's going to be a big defensive. It's going to be an emphasis on defense. It's going to be an emphasis on stopping the run. It's going to be a big weekend. But that first game, I'm going to say Chargers, Texans. I don't think anybody in the world believes in the Texans anymore. I'm sorry to say that. But it's just crazy because C.J. Stroud, we were talking so highly of him his rookie year. Then the second year just went and has been struggling, and it's easy, just struggling. The whole team has been struggling, and it's a sophomore slump. But the Chargers defense is too good, and then you got Justin Herbert back to the machine, and so I believe in the Chargers. They just got to be able to run the ball though. That's the only way they're going to win. We could be honest. And then we got the Steelers versus Ravens game. And I hate both those teams, but the Ravens are going to win that. The Ravens are going to win that one because of Lamar Jackson. Yeah. Lamar Jackson is going to win that game for them, and Lamar Jackson is going to show the world stop questioning me, stop questioning my skills. He's going to win that Super Bowl this year, but we'll get to that later. But then also the next game, Broncos Bills. Don't get me wrong, love the Broncos, but they're going to get their ass kicked this game. I'm only saying that because the Bills have done it the right way all season. They committed to running the ball. They committed to playing good defense. Josh Allen has stopped making so many of those boneheaded plays that makes us question what the hell he's doing. And I just think in general, the Bills are on a hot streak right now. I think the Bills will win that one by like 10. I'd say 14 points.
Ooh, 14.
I'd say 14 because it's going to be a late pick six that knocks it to. It's going to be a close game to the end. And then we got the Packers Eagles. I got to go with the Eagles, man. It's just the Packers have been struggling. We don't know about the health of Jordan Love. It's just in general, it just seems like everything's going to work out for the Eagles. And we saw the Eagles already beat the Packers first game of the season. And so, obviously it's hard to beat a team twice in the season, but I just think with all the prior issues with the Packers, I think the Eagles will win that one. And then we got Commanders versus Buccaneers. And I'm surprised. I think the Commanders will end up winning this game. Ooh. I don't think the Buccaneers are really that good. The NFC South is trash, as we know. It's not one of the best divisions in football. The Commanders play in one of the better divisions in football, and they play tough talent every week. And I'm just a believer in Jaden Daniels. He's going to get his first playoff win this week. And I just think that, honestly, just the Buccaneers, to me, really just aren't that good. And, they're just the beneficiaries of playing in a bad division. But, hey, prove me wrong. And then the last game, Vikings-Rams, which will be the most interesting game of Wild Card Week because these are two teams that just played each other a couple weeks ago. And I hate to say it, but I think the storybook is over. The storybook ending is now you're not going to get that for the Vikings. And we've been talking about how good the Vikings have been all year. We've started seeing them dip recently. They haven't really been the same. I think the Rams come out and beat the Vikings, and then we're on to the next week. And I think it's going to be a great slate of football.
Man, that boy went through everything, but I'm going to make it quick, man. I think I got the Chargers. Like Shelby said, they're going to be tough to beat, and I think Coach Harbaugh just outcoaches, D'Amico this game, being that he knows what it takes to win a championship, Let's go game 2, Steelers versus the Ravens. I'm going to go with the Ravens. I think the Steelers are just, they kind of lost themselves. They lost their identity. They lost their confidence, falling, I think the last 4 games, right? Losing streak, right? They ended the season bad. So I'm going to go with the Ravens. I'm going to have to go with the Bills. It's going to be a tough game for Denver on the road, but it's hard to pick against the Bills and Josh Allen. It could possibly be MVP. Out of him and probably Lamar Jackson. Packers versus Eagles. I'm going to go with the Eagles because I got the Eagles winning the Super Bowl. So I got to ride with the Eagles all the way through. Commanders and Bucks. I'm going with the Commanders like Shelby. I think the major pickup is Marshawn Lattimore hamstring finally being healthy, him being able to come back and shut down Mike Evans. I think that's going to be crucial, right? That should make their defense turn up to another level. And then the Vikings Rams. I'm with Shelby too. I'm with the Rams, man. I think Sean McVay just knows how to win in the playoffs. They're tough. They're all even though the Vikings they do have more talent, right? But I'm just gonna go with Sean McVay. He just knows how to win these tight games, man. So I made it short and quick, man. But the Eagles gonna win this Super Bowl. I'm telling you.
It's not even necessarily Sean McVay versus Kevin O'Connell. I'm honestly looking at it as it's Matt Stafford versus Sam Darnold. And Matt Stafford, I'm gonna pick Matt Stafford every time.
Every time.
The man knows how to win. And forgive us, our listeners, I'm live at the current playoff game about to go down by the time you hear this of Penn State, Notre Dame. But walking through this playoff, I got a couple picks different than my brothers here now. Okay, I got the Chargers winning against the Texans. I'm with you, Shelby. Nobody believes in the Texans that they are at home. And being a former Texan, and I played in the playoffs there, it does get loud. But I think the Chargers win the game because they love it. They love the hard work. They're going to run the ball to make you think that they're doing consistencies in that first quarter, and then they're going to hit you over the head with the pass in the second quarter and then beat you in the fourth. For the Steelers-Ravens, this is the Ravens all day. Talk about storybook endings ending. I think our friend Russell Wilson has his storybook ending end in Baltimore. I got the Broncos beating the Bills, though. Come on, boys. I know Josh Allen might be an MVP, but they're sitting there listening to all their family and friends come in early, talk about where they're sitting. Who are the Broncos? They got nothing to lose coming off of one of their most dominant offensive performances. Give me the Broncos, boys. And then I'm going to pick the Eagles. I want to pick the Packers, but I don't rule again. I never cheer against Jalen Hurts. I'm a man of principle. That's my principle. Go Eagles, fly, Eagles, fly. I'm gonna get the Buccaneers beating the Commanders. I'd love to see the Commanders win. I think it'd be great for the NFL. But I think the Buccaneers, with their experience and being in the playoffs, it's really going to come and affect the Commanders in a big way. And lastly, boys, Skol Vikings. Let's go. Sam Darnold, underrated MVP candidate. Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson. They run the ball. But, Flores can't be blitzing like crazy in the playoffs. That's the big thing. You cannot blitz a guy like Matt Stafford. He will pick you apart.
I think that's going to be the difference. I think that's the difference. Playoff football, baby. That's the difference. We're not just talking about regular season. One mistake can end your season. And I don't think, the players that haven't played in the playoffs before, like that's the difference. It's a different time of the year.
And talk about real quick, fellas, before I got a jet, talk about what you learned in your first playoff game that you carried with you.
Man, this shit's tough. It's different because because for us, like my first time going to the playoffs, I was in Seattle and we were playing the 49ers for the third time. And that third time, every old lineman felt just a little heavier. You know what I mean? Everything just felt more enhanced. And it's a different feel. It's the intensity because it's truly win or go home. It's not a 7-game series. And so every play matters. And so it's just how locked in everybody is and just how it's a different vibe. And it's true. Like once it gets to the playoffs, it's no more BS. Everybody's ready to go.
Yeah, my first playoff game is against Big Ben, the Tebow playoff game, when DT had the slant for the game winner. And that was like a welcome to the league for me, going against Big Ben, going against Mike Wallace. I think they had Antonio Brown, Jericho Cotchery, Emmanuel Sanders. They were loaded at receiver, Hines Ward, So I'm like, I got to guard everybody, all these guys, as a rookie, So it was that showed me what it took and the level that I got to play at a high level to be able to compete with those guys, man. And really gave me confidence going into my second year, right? That knowing that, hey, I'm a starter in this league and I can play with these guys and on a playoff level. So that's really what it was for me. It was the opportunity to try to get my feet wet, see if I belong, a confidence builder. And luckily I was able to do it going to playoffs my rookie year.
Well, I'm with you guys. The game speeds up dramatically in the playoffs. And the physicality, woo! If you think you've been hit in a regular season game, you have not. I promise you that. And I remember the first playoff game that I was in, we won. But then the second, that divisional round, Man, I was with the Texans and we went to New England. I think we were winning like 17-3 at the halftime, and they beat us like 42-20. And I remember on that field, like, man, they just chose to play harder. They chose to pay more attention to details. And it's a terrible feeling when you feel that. When you think you're ready and you go against a team that works a situation that you forgot about or really executes on a second down, a down you really don't think about. And then you're starting to look at it at the end of the game. You're like, man, those things add up like Jenga piles. You know what I'm saying? So the physicality and the speed is unmatched. So I'm happy for the Broncos getting in. Young teams need to get to the playoffs because if you don't play in the playoffs, you really don't know what it takes to win at a high level. And with that, boys, I got to sign off. Go Irish, and I'll check you all out next week.
Yes, sir.
But now for the college football playoffs, the ones that everybody's waiting for. These are some big games. Chris, what do you think about this first game? We got Penn State and Notre Dame. Obviously our brother Ryan. The brother Harris, Notre Dame guy. But what do you think? Do you think they have a chance against Penn State?
Yeah, I think Notre Dame wins this game. I think they've been playing solid on defense. I love their corners. I can't remember the kids' names, but they've been shutting down all year. They got a nice pass rush, solid run game. The only thing I'm worried about is Penn State's running back, man, number 13. He's a problem, right? Nobody's been able to tackle him in the playoffs so far. He's been running all over people. He pretty much took the Genty show last week. So that's my only worried about going against Penn State. But I think Notre Dame has that confidence, that full team athletes. I think they win this game.
Man, I'm just not a believer of Penn State.
Yeah.
I've seen, being, going to Wisconsin and then, being from Wisconsin, being a Big Ten guy, I've never seen Penn State win the big game, ever. Yeah. The game, like they win every game that doesn't matter, but then the game that matters, they somehow have a terrible game.
Right.
And I can't even say they had the best game against Boise. Or like, you know what I mean? I don't even act like, we can't act like they've been hitting on all cylinders or anything like that. They haven't. And so just for that case, and shout out to my boy Lauren Landau, Indy's director of sports performance. But I got to go with North Dakota. I mean Notre Dame.
North Dakota State won a championship though. They did.
They did. No, but I got to go with Notre Dame though. I think you can't. It's going to be a big year for Notre Dame because, when's the last time we talked about Notre Dame actually having a real shot to win a natty? They made it that 1 year a couple years ago, but it has not been it's been a long time before we actually even thought they really could win it. So I got to go with Notre Dame this time.
Yeah. And the Cotton Bowl, man, with Texas and Ohio State, that's going to be a juggernaut right there. It's right here in Dallas tomorrow. It's a blizzard out here. I don't know how people are going to get there, right? But I got Texas, man. I'm sorry. I know it's hard for me to go against Ohio State, but since I'm living in Texas, I'm going to ride with Texas. I think Ohio State is a better team, with Jeremiah Smith. He's a dog, right? Only person I can see guarding Jeremiah Smith is number 7 from Texas. Bannon. I gotta go back and look at it now. I don't want to mess his name up. Right, but he's a dog. He's probably, I think, he's my top 3 corners in the draft, right? Because he plays safety, he plays nickel, he plays corner. They line him up at middle backer. He's blitzing the A gap. Right, this corner at Texas is the real deal. So I can't wait to see him versus Jeremiah Smith. That's going to be a hell of a matchup right there. The two probably best guys, I think. Travis Hunters is, he's talented-wise the best corner, right? But this guy's already polished, right? He has technique. That's all he plays is DB. So it's going to be a great matchup, man. I'm looking forward to that game.
Texas, when I was coming out, Texas was one of my favorite schools. I almost went there. It was too far away from home to go to college. But this new Texas is not the same.
Yeah.
As in this year, I think they're frauds. I hate to say it. I think they're frauds. I think Ohio State's going to whoop their ass. I think going to beat them down. And I think Oregon, because the difference is every time Ohio State plays a big game, they show up. And last week, they didn't just show up, they showed out. You know what I mean? They showed out. Texas has struggled every step of the way. Every step of the way. And I don't see the Cotton Bowl being any different. I don't see them changing anything else. And I think, we're a little bit too high on Quinn Ewers. I think he's not as good or as dominant as people try to say he is. I think he'll probably end up transferring this year he won't even go into the draft. I bet he ends up transferring and trying to get another year with some better tape. Because a lot of times I see on a lot of his balls, it's just not as accurate as they should be for an NFL caliber quarterback. And it's very little windows you're talking about, but it's not as accurate. So I just think that this Texas team, they're a very good football team. They just are not playing up to their full potential right now. And I like the way Ohio State's been playing. They've been running the damn ball. And like you said, that receiver, right, Jeremiah Smith is the truth.
Right.
The truth.
Yeah.
And when have we seen a freshman receiver be this dominant? When's the last time we've seen something like this? A freshman receiver come, not just like put up the numbers. I'm talking about the pure domination where like people don't even want to guard this man anymore. And like he has teams afraid to run man because it's like, I don't know if I have a one-on-one matchup that can hold this man down. So, with a matchup like that, and then with Ohio State's defense shutting down Oregon like they did last week, I gotta go with the Bucks. And I'm in Ohio right now, so I'm gonna go with the Bucks. And
defense is scary.
So then, who do you think's gonna win then?
I like I said, man, I'm gonna roll with Texas just because it's a home game. They're here in Dallas. I'm talking
about Natty, baby.
Natty.
So since we talk about Notre Dame, we both agree,
I got Notre Dame and Texas in the championship. So
you gotta go with Texas.
I'm thinking, man, you scaring me now with that Ohio State, right? Because they do got some dogs on defense, right? I love Downs at safety. What's the DN name? Sawyer.
You got Sawyer. You got Simon.
He's a problem, right? So I'm gonna flip this. Shelby talked me into it. I'm going with Ohio State's defense. Their defense is like Downs. This kid is playing all over the field also, right? I don't know how he's kind of like a TJ Ward type, like a hybrid guy. But I love the way he plays, man. And the running game that with the way that Ohio State has two running back system, they're catching on fire right now with Jenkins. Just like you said, man, they're going to be tough, man. It's going to be tough to beat Ohio State with Jeremiah Smith in a bouquet. But I think the Texas cornerback can give him problems, though, Shelby. I think if there's any DB that can give this guy, Jeremiah Smith, some action, some good work, it's his Texas corner for sure.
Well, all I know is that we got two very good games coming up.
Now we're getting into the fourth down on We Are the Harrises. And what are your Super Bowl predictions, for this upcoming playoffs? It's going to be tight playoffs. Every team is pretty good, all good matchups. But what are your Super Bowl predictions?
I want to be able to come back to this when the Super Bowl is up there, and when we're down in New Orleans, and I'm just tell everybody I knew it the whole time. But my Super Bowl predictions will be the Baltimore Ravens versus the Philadelphia Eagles. And I'm going to give it to the Baltimore Ravens. I think the Eagles will somehow, I don't know, this is out of left field. I think the Eagles are going to figure it out. And the best way to be able to figure it out is if you have a run game. And that's one thing they do have. They will eventually be able to figure, their offensive problems out. Maybe that a little break or anything will help them out. But, the playoffs are meant for teams who have been there before, who've been in the Super Bowl, even though they lost Super Bowl before. And so I'm going to say Ravens versus the Eagles. And if it's not the Eagles, it'll be the Lions. But I'm going to say Ravens versus the Eagles. And the Ravens, Lamar Jackson will get over that hump and be your Super Bowl champion and Super Bowl MVP.
Man, I can't lie, man. I don't think the Chiefs can three-peat. Right? I think that's damn near impossible. And they've kind of squeaked their way, to having a good season this year, with a lot of close losses. But I can't go pick against them. Right? I'm gonna pick them to make it to the Super Bowl and lose in the Super Bowl to the Eagles. I got the Eagles winning it, man. If Jalen Hurts can come back healthy, out of that concussion protocol, the offense is hitting, is striking right now at the right time. He's getting A.J. Brown going. Saquon Barkley's been the man all year, and they have the best running game on the NFC. The secondary, Quinyon Mitchell, Slay has been playing good. I love Cooper DeJean in the slot of what they bring. So I got the Eagles versus the Chiefs. And I think the Eagles get payback on Andy Reid this year, man. I just don't see the Chiefs three-peating, man. It's so hard to do, and but it's so hard to go against Patrick Mahomes.
But what does that tell you, though? It tells you that everyone, the injuries are mounting up for Detroit, and no one believes it. Everyone's starting to lose a little bit of belief in them. It's just how many hits can you take and still be great? And Detroit has been the favorite all year. I swear, it seems like every week though they lose another major piece of their team. And you're going to get Montgomery back supposedly in the playoffs. But how effective is he going to be? But we saw how effective Jahmyr Gibbs is when he becomes that primary ball carrier.
Yeah.
But I just don't know how, when it comes to the playoffs, it's nice to have that 1-2 punch. And so, the Lions, they've had such a great season, but you see the writing on the wall. It's just eventually it just becomes too much.
Yeah, it's when you lose everybody in your defense. I think Merrick, he went out there and played good versus Robinson went out there and played good versus Justin Jefferson, right? But that's how long can you expect this guy to do that every week, right? He hasn't been a top tier guy, right? So you usually don't expect guys to have those type of performances every week, right? So we need the Lions. They're gonna have to rely on their O-line, their run game, and Jared Goff's play action, right? And that's what's gonna try to help them get to the final or get them to the Super Bowl. But I don't believe they can make it with that. Too many defensive injuries. You got to have all your guys on the defensive side. I've seen this picture before. I've been a part of it, right? We were number one offense in the league, Peyton Manning. We lost 10 starters on defense or 9 to 10 starters on defense. And, we seen what happened to us in the Super Bowl, right? So I see the Lions kind of in that same way, even though they've been playing great all year, right? It's hard to go against Coach Campbell. Right, we love the energy that he brings as a player's coach. Everybody in that locker room loves playing for him, so they bought in. So they truly believe they can win every game. So it's gonna be tough to knock them out. I just don't believe they're gonna have all the players that they need to be able to win a Super Bowl. The Chiefs, like you said, it's gonna be hard for them to repeat or three-peat. Right, even though they got the players, I think their defense a little and their secondary is down compared to they were last year. Right, but they do have a great chance to make it there. I think they will make it to the Super Bowl. I don't see anybody in the AFC. Only team I can think that can knock them off is the Ravens. But what we've seen in the past history is that they haven't been able to knock them off in big games, right? So I'm gonna roll with the Chiefs to make it to the finals, but finally take that loss, man. We need them to take that loss, so we can crown somebody else. Hopefully, somebody else on the NFC. Man, and we can start the new year going good because next year is going to be even crazier, right?
Next year is going to be
this offseason is going to be fun, man. So, and we're already seeing it. It's already happening, right? We see coaching firings. We see openings opening up. We see Coach Pierce and Mayo getting fired after 1 year on the job, and GM spots opening up at the Raiders, the Jets, and the Titans. We also have head coaching opportunities opening up at the Raiders, the Jets, the Jaguars, the Bears, and the Saints, and the Patriots. So you got a lot of action going on. A lot of new faces going to be around the league. How do you feel about these job openings up in the NFL?
It's unfortunate every year when you see people lose their jobs. You don't like to see anyone lose their jobs, but this is a performance-based business. I got to say my favorite job out there, it has probably Chicago. Or New England, if you really think about it, Chicago or New England. And I would just say Chicago just because we see the special traits that Caleb Williams has. It's just a matter of putting together a staff and, just bring the people around him that will actually allow him to flourish. And yes, he does have a problem holding on to the ball too long, but I just think that was a case of trying to make something shake when there was nothing, when nobody was helping you out. You know what I mean? You're over here running for your life trying to make shit shake, and that's just what it is. But, man, I just think that, the roster that they have, well, obviously it's going to be some change, but always believe that when you have a rookie quarterback or you have a quarterback that's not on a big deal, those are the jobs that are the most, the ones that lure you to them the most because there's so much cap space that can go to every position to really build your contender. those are the teams that you got to be scared of, because once that quarterback takes a $50 million cap hit, you got to think, oh, that's the O-line. You're losing some pieces of the O-line. You're losing some pieces of the D-line. Like this way, like look at that Bronco team. Like the Broncos are paying, they're paying Russell Wilson, don't get me wrong. But the thing is, they're able to survive because they have a rookie quarterback. Right. And they were able to put the little money they had into other places to bring the team together. And then Bo's played well above expectations, and so that's why you're able to compete. And so as a Ben Johnson going and looking for head coaching jobs, you got to think. I think for him, Chicago would be the perfect one. One, you already know the whole division, but two, it's just already has the piece, aka a quarterback, in place that can help take you to the next level.
Yeah. I'm looking at the spots. I'm like, I'm running from the Jaguars job. Right? Just I don't know what you're gonna get out of Trevor Lawrence. I don't have any faith in that kid, right? He's been in the league. I gotta look how many years he's in, but he's a vet. He's got great experience. And I haven't seen him get over that hump yet or show that next level that he's even a Pro Bowl caliber, quarterback. Right. So that job is scary, right? You got a high price quarterback, a high cap number, and a guy that's not producing. So I'm definitely trying to run away from there. The Jets is a scary job. The Saints might be scary because they're always over the cap.
Every year.
Every year they're over the cap, right? So you got to you're going to have to manage that team, right? And like you said, the Patriots is the best spot, right? You got a rookie quarterback. Same with the Bears. They got rookie quarterbacks on nice deals, right? That's a great starting point, right? And then you can just build from around those guys. And it just sucks to see that Coach Mayo get fired after 1 year. When we see Belichick, he was doing the same thing. He was taking losses with a lot of those same players, right? And then Coach Antonio Pierce. Everybody knew the Raiders were going to be trash at the beginning of the year.
Awful, garbage. No chance to compete. They beat us, though. They beat us, though, but garbage.
But, like getting fired after 1 year, what can you really show with those guys, right? What can you show as a coach? And now you're labeled as a bad coach. Oh, he sucked. He never showed that he was worthy of this job. Well, he only been a head coach one time, and this is his first time doing it. So let him get some experience, man. So I just didn't like that. So I hope Glenn I hope he goes to the Saints. That'll be a great pick for him from the Lions. Johnson, what team do you want him to go to?
I think he's going to go to the Bears, man. I just think if you give him a quarterback with his creativity, I think that he'll be able to go make something to shake. Because that's what did the Bears lack this year? In offense, any creativity on offense. And I think Ben Johnson, we see what he does, for the Lions. Every week we come up, we're like, man, where did that come from?
He might like that dome, man. He might like that dome. He might want to go to the Raiders, man. And be in that dome.
With what quarterback?
You're right. You're right. And that's why Ben Johnson turned down all those opportunities last year, right? Because he could have been a head coach last year, but he was like, nah, I'm not going to go. He was smart, right? He did what Mayo and Pierce didn't do. He turned down those sorry teams and non-quarterback teams to stay with the Lions and have great success again. So Ben Johnson's smart. He knows what he's doing for sure.
But you never know about a slam dunk coaching hire, because you just remember, like when Dan Campbell got hired, everybody was talking about how bad of a pick that was. He's over here talking about biting the heads off of stuff in interviews and talking all crazy. And everybody instantly was like, Detroit's making a mistake. This is the worst coaching hire of the cycle. And guess what? Dan Campbell's the number one seed in the NFC Championship. So, and on the NFC side. So it's just, you never know. But sometimes you just have to be put in this position of a head coach to figure out if they're going to be good or not. Because we all know someone who is just a coordinator. So someone who should be just a coordinator. And there's nothing wrong with that. It takes a special type of talent to be a head coach.
And that's true, man. All these GM spots, man, the Raiders, the Jets, the Titans. I think Brady's the new Raiders GM pretty much. He's going to be running the show over there. That's what I'm seeing. That's from the reports, The Jets, they're just, they're dumpster fire right now. right? What are they going to do? They got Aaron Rodgers. They got tons of receivers, that are going to be free agents. Their O-line is still terrible, So I wouldn't even be looking at the Jets if I'm, unless I'm like a Rex Ryan. I'm trying to get back in the league. Unless you're one of those coaches that are trying to get back in the league, then I would look at the Jets and the Jaguars. But other than that, I'm running far away from those teams.
Well, everyone keeps talking about they're running away from Balky. The Jags decided to keep their GM and keep talking about how this running coaching, coaches away because they don't want to work with him. But it's just it's a tough situation. You got to think this is your last chance for Balky. This is his last chance, so you're gonna get fired. And for a lot of people, like you're putting your job on the line hiring these people. Most GMs usually don't make it through 2 head coach firings and then happen to be around. So it'll be interesting to see just what happens this coaching cycle.
And there we go, man. Shout out to the fourth down, going over through the coaching carousel. We are the Harrises. And thanks again for tuning in. Presented to you by our friends over at Landmark Lincoln and all the new 2024 Lincoln Carousel GT plug-in hybrid. Go to landmarklincoln.com to see the latest offers and incentives and see if you qualify for no payments for up to 90 days. Again, landmarklincoln.com, the #1 Lincoln dealership in Colorado.